So we'll be looking at chapter 14. In chapter 14, the first problem we'll look at is problem number 2. So take a look at that problem, and as we have been doing before, we'll quickly underline the most important, but the pertinent information for the problem. So here is a software company that was developed. The founder initially invested 800,000, so that's their capital investment. Okay, so that's their capital investment, and they received 8 million shares for their 800,000. Now they want to do a second round of capital, and they have identified a venture capitalist that will invest $1 million, but want 20% ownership of the company. So what will be the... So the question is, how many shares must the venture capitalist receive to end up with 20% of the company, and what will be the implied price per share? So now we know that after this this second round of financing gets through with the venture capitalist, the original owner they will still own 8 million shares, but this 8 million shares would be 80% of the total. It will be 80% of the total. So what will be the total number of shares post venture capitalist, post second round of financing? That'll be divided by, which is 10 million. Okay, so they'll have 10 million shares outstanding. Now the venture capitalist will get 20% of that 10 million. So venture capitalist shares is going to be 20% of 10 million, which is going to be 2 million shares. The venture capitalist has agreed to give 1 million in cash. So from this we can say price per share will be the 1 million that they're giving divided by the 2 million shares that they're getting, which is 50 cents or 0.5 per share. So the implied share price would be 0.5. What will be the value of the firm after this investment? So now there are 10 million shares outstanding at 50 cents per share. So value of the firm is going to be 10 million times 0.5 would be 5 million. So now for the owner, they had invested 800,000 initially and they received 8 million shares. So that investment today is worth $5 million. The value of the firm has increased from 800,000 to 5 million. Okay. So the post-money valuation would be $5 million. Let's take a look at problem number 2. Problem number 3. Problem number 3 is also about post-money valuation. So now over here, what information do we have? You own 100% of the firm with 10 million shares outstanding. You have received 2 offers. One offer is $3 million at $1 million per share, and the other offer is $2 million at 500,000 with 500,000 new shares. So the first question is, what is the first offer's post-money valuation? So to do that, we have to first calculate the implied price per share. So implied price per share is going to be the $3 million that we are receiving from the first offer. And we're going to divide that by the 1 million shares that we are issuing as a result of that offer, which is $3. That's the implied price per share. Then the post-money valuation would be the new share price of $3 multiplied with the total number of shares now outstanding. Initially we had 10 million shares. To that we are adding 1 more million. So now we have 11 million shares outstanding. So the value, post-money valuation, would be $33 million. And similarly, you can calculate the second offer's post-money valuation. Second offer's post-money valuation would be, again, implied share price. Would be now 2 million divided by 500,000. That gives us $4 per share. Post-money valuation will be $4 per share multiplied by, now I'm going to add to this 10 million, 500,000. So that multiplied by 500 is 10 million, 10.5 million, which gives us the new post-money valuation of $42 million. Okay, so we had 33 million and 42 million. So the question number C is, what is the percentage dilution caused by each offer? So the percentage dilution caused by the first offer what is the percentage dilution caused by each offer? So the first offer had initial number of shares was 10 million. New shares 11 million. So the fractional ownership to the existing owner as a result of this new offer is 0.909. So now you can calculate dilution. The extent to which it has been diluted is 1 minus 0.909, which is 0.091. And similarly, you could calculate the dilution for the second offer, which comes out to 0.048, and then you can take the difference in the dilution offer, in the different between the dilutions. Question number D, what is the dilution per dollar invested for each offer? So dilution per dollar. For the first one, we can calculate that as 0.091 divided by the 3 million. So 0.091 divided by 3 million. So 3 million is this number, and the dilution, we just calculated that, 0.091. We divide that, and that gives us 0.0000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 0. Okay. Let's move on to question number 7. This is question 7. Question 7 gave us for a auction IPO, the firm received different bids, and what we have done over here is we have taken each bid and rearranged them in from the lowest to the highest, or from the highest offer to the lowest offer. From the highest offer to the lowest offer. So the highest offer at $14, the number of shares was 100,000. The next highest offer is 1380. The next highest offer, the number of shares was 200,000, but this one is showing 300. That is because it's the 100,000 from the first offer, the $14 offer, plus the 200,000 from the 1380 offer. That gives me 300,000. The next highest offer is 1360. So the cumulative offer would be, we take this and we add to that the next offer, which is 500,000, that gives us 800,000, and so on and so forth. So over here, what we are looking at is cumulative demand. This is the key part. What we had in the original table was the number of shares. Now we are looking at cumulative demand. Now once we have that, then the question is, how many shares would be sold? What will be the IPO price if there are 1.8 million shares that we want IPO? So if we want to sell 1.8 million shares at the auction price, then we will accept this one as the price, because at $13.40, we clear out a cumulative of 1.8 million shares. So that's problem number 7. Let's take a look at problem number 9. This is a little bit more involved, so let's read through this carefully. 3 years ago, you founded a company, and your company has gone through 3 rounds of financing. You initially provided, you bought 500,000 shares at $1 per share, so you initially provided a capital of 500,000. Then later on, angel financing of 1 million shares, and then venture capital financing of additional 2 million shares. So now it's 2011, and you need to go another round of capital, very typical of companies, in order to expand your business, and you want to do an IPO. So you have followed the sequence of most IPOs. You start with your own capital, then you bring in angel financing, and then venture capital, and then you do an IPO. And you have decided that you're going to sell 6.5 million new shares. And if you complete the IPO, you are also expecting that your net income will be 7.5 million in 2011. Your investment banker advises that the price of other recent IPOs have been set as such that they're based on the average PE ratios of the industry. Based on, with the forecasted average for the industry, average PE ratio is 20. And assuming that your IPO follows the multiple PE approach, what will be your IPO price per share? So we know that historic average, so the average PE has been set at 20. You have also decided, you also know that you are forecasting and earnings of 7.5 million. So that means P over E for 2011 will equal the historic average of 20. That's an assumption. This is our assumption, and we're going to assume that projected PEs will be around the historic average. So now we already know what E is. E is 7.5 million. So then from this, P would be 20 times 7.5, which gives us 150 million. So price for the entire offer, or the value of your equity, would be 150 million. Now there are already how many shares outstanding? If you add these up, there are 3.5 million shares outstanding, and you intend to issue additional 6.5 million. So total number of shares, new total number of shares, will be the initial 3.5 plus the new 6.5 for a total of 10 million shares outstanding. So 150 million is the value of your equity divided by 10 million shares outstanding. So the new share price is going to be $15. So this is our new P. So be careful in terms of looking at this one. Over here, we are calculating P, but this is based on total earnings. So this P over here is not on a per share basis. So what we have done over here is converted that into a per share basis, taking the total value of the equity based on the new net income, multiply and divide that by the number of shares outstanding. Part B, what percentage of the firm would you own after the IPO? So you own 500,000 over 10 million shares outstanding. So your ownership is 5%. Okay, let's take a look at problem number 14. So your firm is selling 3 million shares in an IPO, so that's your IPO shares. You're targeting an offer price of $17.25. Your underwriters are proposing a 7% spread. You would like it to lower to 5%. However, you are concerned that if you do so, they will argue for a lower offer price. Given the potential from a lower spread, how much lower can the offer price go before you would have preferred to pay the 7% to get $17.25? So what's the trade-off? This is a trade-off between lowering the spread versus lowering the price of the IPO offer. So what is given an offer price, the offer price is $17.25, and the spread, initial spread, is 7%. So that means, what is your total proceeds? What's the total amount of money that you will generate from this offer? So if the spread is 7%, what you are keeping is 93%. 1 minus the 7%. That 93% is based on a share price of $17.25, and you are expecting to sell 3 million shares. So based on this, you can raise 127,500. 48,127,500. So now you want to be indifferent to the second offer. That means you still want to raise $48,127,500, but now this will be based on a 5% spread. So that means you are keeping 95%. What you do not know is what will be the share price. Let's call that X. The share price at which you will have to sell the shares or offer the shares in order to still raise $48,127,500. And you are still planning to sell 3 million shares. So now from this equation, X would be so we did take 48,127,500 and divide 0.95 times 3 million into it, and that gives us 1689. That gives us 1689. So the offer price can fall to 1689 before you would prefer to pay 7% to get a $17.25 offer price for your IPO. So that completes problems on chapter 13.